it's Agnes here at ABK, and I want to thank you so very much for joining me for this week's introductory video. Now this week I'm going to share just a few reflections on joy. And joy is one of those things that is fleeting yet oh so precious. And unfortunately, these days, it also seems to be in short supply. So why not shine a light on joy? Now, when we set out to create change in our lives and pursue our goals, it can often feel deeply uncomfortable, and that's completely normal. Change is uncomfortable. However, if we focus our attention in upon the negatives without creating any space for joy, then we are greatly increasing the likelihood that we are going to abandon our goals outright. Why pursue something if there is no joy to be found? Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes with some goals, it can be incredibly difficult to find the joy. For instance, when I quit smoking, the physiological effects of that made it feel as though all happiness had just left my being. But then one day, while I was walking down the street, I was overcome with the beautiful fragrance from the blossoms on the trees. And this had signaled that my sense of smell had returned. And this created just such a pure joy inside of myself. And as a result, my decision to quit was affirmed, and I haven't looked back since. Now, we can't force joy into our lives. That is not how it works. However, there are a few things that we can do that create the chances of finding joy along the way. For instance, when we choose goals that foster our passions, this greatly increases the chance that joy is going to find us as we follow our stars. Also, focusing in on the process instead of the outcome can be incredibly beneficial, as it helps to alleviate the pressure and also helps us celebrate the little wins along the way. We should also not be afraid to let our inner child out. Embrace silliness, be tenacious, explore the world with curiosity, and laugh wholeheartedly. All of these things help foster joy. Now, it's also important that we focus in on what we can control instead of the negatives that hold us down. By having a slight shift in our perspective, we can find the joy along the way. Also, appreciate the little things in life. Look at the stars, smell the flowers, snuggle our pets. Making space for these little moments of wonder naturally opens us up for more joy. Now, I'm going to finish off with a few lines from one of my favorite poems that helps me through tough times. And this is Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. And he says, "And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy." Now, if you're feeling a little joy inside of you and you want to work on your goals, I encourage you to join along with me in one of my Work Together videos where we will work side by side on our goals for 45 or 25 or even 15 minutes, taking those little steps to just bring us ever so slightly closer to the realization of our much bigger goals and dreams. Again, I want to thank you so very much for joining me. I so appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Bye now.